the through the usual a quick recap of the overall unbox curriculum, if you can say curriculum. So essentially, the whole workshop is focused around how can we reduce our distractions. So especially in the current times, right, with COVID related negative news cycles and our inability to actually go and engage with the nature and friends, right? So this particular need is even more amplified. Sorry. So when we talk about distractions, right? So what are the components? When you say I'm distracted, what are the components of? And there are actually two components, right? One component is our attention, and other component is the thoughts. So what we'll do is we'll try to understand a little bit more about these two components, the thoughts and attention, right? So, and then we'll also understand a little bit more about the interaction between my thought and my attention. And what we'll also learn is some tricks or exercises that will harmonize the interaction between my thought and attention so that I can be more happy. So that is essentially what we are going to do in this workshop. So, so let's start with the first thing, which is my attention. I think the whole thing starts with attention. So attention is anything that I'm aware of, right? And in the neuroscience research, what is found out is our brain is capable of processing 127 bits per second. So let's call it like 127 points we have. So when I do the workshop for kids, I refer to it as 127 points. So when we say to the kids, pay attention, so they are able, our ability is to pay 127 points of attention. Now we can take the 127 points and focus it in one thing and do that very good, very well. Or we get distracted by multiple things. So for example, if it takes 60 points to follow an audio conversation. So if you are actually listening to somebody talking, half of your 120 points is gone already. So if you listen to two people talking, then there's nothing else left, right? So practically speaking, that's the reason if you see, you can follow a conversation of two people talking at a time with a little bit of discomfort because it is using your entire 120 bits, but you cannot follow three people talking at all, right? So you can try that out. So that is the dynamics of the attention. Now, everyone's attention has a different capability, but we can do a quick test of where my attention stands, right? So we'll do it right now. Put your hands in front like this. And then look very carefully at the back of your fingers. Notice the patterns, the knot, the texture of your skin, your nail, right? I think you'll be very easily able to do that, right? There's no discomfort or any problem in actually seeing this. Now, just take both the hands back and keep on looking in front of your hands are in your peripheral vision, and take them back to the extent where you can still see them both in the peripheral vision, right? And just hold it there. And now I want you to, in addition to these two hands, put your attention to the top of your head. So three things. Now I also want you to be aware of both of your toes. 5 things. Hold it. You should be your attention for all the 5. Now take it down. Now, usually this is a self-check. So I've seen that there are few, especially kids, who are not able to do this at all. They say, I cannot do this. How can I do 5? And then there is a pattern where people say, I can do it very easily. And then they see that people do it with a little bit of a difficulty, but they actually go from one place. So they actually scan around from hand, head, this and this. So what I meant is relatively only 50% of people can be aware of all the 5 at the same time without having to scan around and with ease, right? So this gives a benchmark. You can always do this at your leisure. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that if you are able to do all the 5, then you are using the 127 bits, right? And you will notice that there are no thoughts. There is no scope for having any thoughts. So that is the important problem. So when you have when you have claimed the full 127 bits, there is no place for any other distraction in your head, right? Now so we saw what attention is. We saw what the capacity of attention is, and what we are trying to do is we are going to reclaim those 127 bits, because when we have mental chatter, it takes a share of that 127 bits. So that is the point, right? So if you have mental chatter, so that takes a big chunk of that. So whatever else you're trying to do, you are not able to do that very efficiently, right? So that is one point. So now let's go a little bit deeper into what does this mental chatter looks like, right? So we saw attention. Now we are going into the mental chatter or the thought piece of it. So until about 8 years ago, I used to think that there is only one way of thinking. But I found out that no, there is not one way of thinking. There are actually 2 modes of thinking, and which has been researched by neuroscience. So our brain has 2 networks. One network is called task positive network, and other network is called default mode network, right? And you can look it up in Google, default mode network. So default mode network is associated with mental chatter. So it is associated with talk about past and future. And default mode networks, when it actually activates, it shuts down another network, which is called a task positive network, that is used for focused thinking or problem solving, right? So essentially what in a common understanding, what we attribute to thinking, which is think to solve a problem, that is only one type of thinking. There is another type of thinking called default mode network thinking, which shuts down this ability, which is and actually takes our attention to something from the past or the future. And the interesting thing is this default mode network thought, we have no control on. It actually is automatically served based on my past experiences or maybe some apprehensions. Task positive network, when I'm solving a math problem or any other problem, an office problem, making a PowerPoint or Excel sheet, at that time I have control on that thought, right? So what we are trying to learn in this workshop is how to deal with this default mode network chatter, so that it doesn't use a big part of that 127 bits of attention that I have. That is essentially what we are going to learn. Okay, so this is the background. Now, how do we do this? How do we train our attention not to be distracted by this chatter? We do it we actually learn it in 2 steps, right? So the first step is that I'll show you a quick puppet show, which I do for the kids. So this is my attention, right? Which is a monkey mind or monkey attention. But what it likes is to grab onto thoughts. So these are the default mode network thoughts, which I have no control on. So DMN, so they are like little demons. Actually, they are not demons. But I'm saying they're naughty at least, right? So these guys keep on coming in, and my attention, it actually grabs onto these thoughts. So it actually gets very easily distracted, and it goes from one thought to other thought to one thought. And so this poor attention doesn't have any other time to do anything else, at least less time to do anything creative. So what we do is that we have to train this attention to let go of these easily. So for that, what we do is that we introduce the concept of an anchor. This is an anchor. And what we tell to our attention is because it likes grabbing stuff, so we ask it to grab this anchor, which it actually does very easily. But soon enough, these things come up. So it goes back to the distracting thoughts. So then we say, okay, look back at the anchor and grab it again. So while it does this, grabbing the anchor again and again, it gets better at letting go So because to grab the anchor, it has to let go of this thought. So it gets better and better at letting go. And one day it can let this go even without the anchor very easily. So distractions come because it has done the exercise, it can let it go very easily. So that is the basic concept we are going to teach our attention. And this attention, once it learns how to do this, like in the gym, the whole concept is that you will be able to let go of the distractions outside the gym. So like you go to the gym to do push-ups to get some strength, but you can use that strength outside the gym. So similarly, when we learn to let go in the MindGym, you can use that ability of letting go distraction outside in your normal life. So that is the basic concept of the first exercise. So what we do is that now we will try to do this exercise. We'll play a 20 minutes. No, let's do the 13 minutes. We'll use breath as an anchor. And if Purnima, if you can play that breath as an anchor 13 minutes, and let's all do this exercise together. So Purnima, are you playing this?
Yes.
Welcome to the MindGym guided meditation. Let us start with first exploring what exactly are we trying to do before starting on the details about the meditation technique. We will try to build up the capacity to let go of thoughts by continuously bringing our attention back on an anchor. As the attention favors the anchor, it automatically practices letting go from distracting thoughts. There are many kinds of anchors that can be used in this technique. In MindGym, we will use breath as an anchor. Breath is the simplest and most used anchor, also taught by the Buddha. Breath is always with us. It's real, and bringing our attention to it brings us to the present moment. Let us perform a couple-minute prep before starting. You can sit cross-legged on a mat, or you can sit on a chair. Be aware of your bottoms before you start and balance your weight evenly. Try to keep your back as straight as possible, but not tense. Gently close your eyes. Before you start, think about an image that triggers a natural outpouring of love. Image of pets or kids when they were little is usually very effective. Think of a time when you were a small kid and you were taken care of. Try to experience the feeling of I'm taken care of, and hence nothing to worry about. Relax and let go of the tension in the jaw, in the shoulders, and any other place in the body that feels tight. Now we will go into belly breathing, which increases our capacity of not getting distracted by thoughts. With longer practice, it may also reduce the number of thoughts generated in our mind. The technique is quite simple. Make sure your belly goes up when you breathe in, and it goes in when you breathe out. This is different from chest breathing, where the chest goes out and the belly goes in when we breathe in, and the chest goes in and belly out when we breathe out. Focus on the belly as you breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, belly out. Breathe out, belly in. Do it a few times. Now, put your attention on the sensations in your back, specifically around your spine. Move the attention from the bottom of the spine to your neck and back down. Now, synchronize this up and down movement with belly breathing. Move the attention up slowly as you breathe in, and move it down along the back as you breathe out. This will help further quiet our active mind. Let us repeat this a few times. Move the attention up your spine slowly as you breathe in, and move it down along the back as you breathe out. Now that your mind has calmed down and the attention is starting to get focused, we will move into the meditation. Bring your attention to the breath. You don't need to breathe differently, just the normal belly breath. Watch when it enters the nostrils and comes out. Observe the warmth or the coldness. Watch the gap between the in and the out breath closely. Observe the sensations it creates below the nostrils and above the upper lip. We are using breath as an anchor in this technique. If your attention wanders into other thoughts, get it back to the breath whenever you become aware of the fact that you have wandered. We are trying to gently favor the breath. We don't want to judge ourselves or the thoughts that distracted us. We want to stay equanimous. If your attention does not wander, continue to watch the breath and the sensations it creates with more awareness. You may zone out or move into the gap between the breath and thoughts sometime during the practice. As soon as you realize you're in a zone, bring the attention back to the anchor. Keep your awareness on your breath. Be aware of your breath. Watch the warm breath in and out, and the sensations it creates above the upper lip. Be aware of your breath. If your attention wanders into other thoughts, get it back to the breath whenever you realize. No need to judge the thoughts or the drifting away. We are practicing letting go of thoughts and coming back to the anchor. Continue to watch. Stay with the breath. Keep the awareness of your breath. Watch the warm breath in and out, and the sensation it creates above the upper lip. Keep your awareness. Continue to watch. Stay with the breath.
You can continue to sit with your eyes closed for 30 more seconds. Let the mind settle down. We should always take time after meditation before we resume normal activities. Okay, so this is the trick that we learned now was essentially you could, if you could identify, right, we learned to how to train our attention to let go of thoughts. That is what we learned. Now we come to the second part of the story. What happens is that though there are two pieces here, right? Though we are learning to let go of thoughts, it takes some time before we are really expert at it, right? So we may let go some of these, we may latch onto some of these. What happens is that if we do latch onto some of these, by when I say we, I mean my attention, the thoughts, they trigger neurochemicals in the bloodstream. So the thoughts, known or unknown to us, they actually trigger these neurochemicals which flow and appear as sensations in our body, which we interpret as emotions. So anger, jealousy, fear, right? Anger and fear are the easy one that we can identify. So the thought trigger those chemicals, it goes in our body and creates us emotions which appear as sensations, either way. So what we are doing is to learn a second trick. It is almost like you can imagine that you are a goalkeeper and a goal is coming, and then you tried your one hand to stop the goal and you could not, and then you use the second hand to stop. So the first hand you stop the goal is by not engaging with the thoughts. The second hand of what we are going to learn is that, okay, I could not do that. The thought went and created the neurochemicals. What I learn now is to observe the sensations that thought has created in my body in an equanimous way, right? And that is the second technique that we are going to learn. So, and between these two techniques, by being ability to take my attention from the distraction to an anchor and being able to equanimously look at the sensations, right? We have all the tools that are required to get unboxed. So that is the concept. So what I'll do now is, before we go to the second trick, I just open it up for any questions about the first technique, the anchor technique. Any questions? If anybody had any difficulty, they have any questions or clarifications on the technique itself, right? Because before we go to the second one, I just want to make sure we are all in the same page on the anchor. Any questions?
I think a couple people joined a bit late. So if you want, you can show the puppet show again. Or they can look at the recording, whatever.
The puppet show, the concept is again the same, right? So we have a default mode network, which is our distracting thoughts, and we are training our attention latches onto these thoughts. And what we are trying to do is that introduce this concept of an anchor, because my attention actually likes to latch onto stuff, including an anchor. So we actually get attention back to anchor again and again. So and while doing this, it actually is learning the skill of letting go of thoughts, because it can only latch to only one thing at a time. So when it latches to anchor, it has to let go of the distraction. So that is what we were doing in our meditation. We are getting our attention back to our anchor again and again. Okay. So let's go for the second one. So what I'll do is I'll play Anisha just created it today, so it may be a little bit of raw, but hopefully you'll find it useful. Just give me a second. So I'll have to share my screen, right?
Share your desktop and share your computer sound, both.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear? Can you? Okay.
Welcome to MindGym. Today, we are going to use a technique of body scan. Practicing this technique builds our awareness of the body and the sensations that appear in it. Sensations have been proven to have a close link to the thoughts in our mind and the emotions that rise with it. When we become aware of our sensations, it helps dissolve the emotion that generated it. This also relaxes the body and mind. Let's begin to scan the body without any judgments. Let's start by sitting in a relaxed manner and let's do a few belly breaths. Belly breathing is simple. The belly goes out when you breathe in and it goes in when you breathe out. Let's do about 10 belly breaths. Breathe in, belly out. Breathe out, belly in. Now that the mind has calmed down, let's begin by bringing our attention to the circle right on the top of the head. Be fully aware of any sensations you can find and gently scan the small area on the top of the head. Now, slowly scan the head and then bring your attention down the face. Scan the forehead, then the cheeks, nose, chin, lips, the eyes. Try to find any sensations, pleasant or unpleasant, and observe it closely without any judgments. Now trace your attention down the neck slowly. Now let's scan the left shoulder and then go down the left arm slowly. Let's scan the upper arm, elbow, lower arm. Be aware of the hand, the top, and the palm, and each one of the fingers, one at a time. See if you can find any sensations, gross or subtle. Is there any tingling, throbbing? Now, trace your way up the arm slowly while being aware of the sensations you can find. Now we will move to scan the right shoulder. Can you see any tightness, any pain? Now let's go down the right arm slowly. See if you can find any sensations. Heat, cold, trace your way down the arm slowly while being aware of the sensations. Bring your attention down, upper arm, elbow, lower arm, then the hand, the top of the hand, then the palm, and each of the fingers, one at a time. Then slowly trace your attention back up the arm. Remember, whatever the sensations might be, pleasant or unpleasant, just observe them with complete equanimity. Now, let's feel the chest area, part by part. Then, slowly we can move the attention down to the abdomen area. Do you feel any tightness or throbbing? Relax the areas if you feel any tightness or knots. Scan the pelvic area intently. Now, let's start with our left leg. Trace your way down the leg slowly while being aware of the sensation. See if you can find anything. It's okay if you can't find too many sensations, and it's okay if you can. Make sure you're scanning the front, the sides and the back of the thighs, then the knee, then the lower leg. Then slowly move your attention down to the left foot. Is there any pain? Is there any contact of your foot where you can feel some sensations? Be aware of the toes, one at a time. The top of the foot, and then the bottom of the foot. Carefully observe the sensations you can find. Now, let's start with the right leg. Trace your way down the leg slowly while being aware of the sensations. Any tingling, any pain, any sensation where your thigh contacts where you're sitting. Then go down to the knee. Then scan the lower leg. Slowly move your attention down to the right foot. Be aware of the toes, one at a time. Top of the foot, the bottom of the foot, the heels. Be aware of any sensations. Try to be very observant. Scan the hips slowly. Trace your attention up the back, part by part. Make sure no areas are left without scanning. Scan the spine area and go up and scan the shoulders, both the shoulders. Then trace your attention up the neck and the back of the head, the ears too. And take it back to the spot you started from. This technique is called body scan. You can keep sitting for a few more minutes and repeat the scan a few more times if you would like. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Oh God.
Yeah, okay. Apple Music. Feeling refreshed after listening to the song.
That is.
Hi, Devraj.
I felt like
that was a perfect ending to that meditation.
Energized.
Yeah, you feel so good after doing that. You know, you need some music there.
So I think we
Can't hear you. Oh.
Okay. I have taken care of it. It's fine. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Any questions now? So we have now, so essentially just quick recap, right? So I use the goal metaphor. So the distractions are coming in form of a football. We are training our attention, which is the goalkeeper, to take care of that distraction in 2 steps. The first one was the anchor. If you use the anchor and actually let go of that distraction, that is one. But most likely you may actually, in many cases, you may not be able to do that, and that distraction comes in form of neurochemical thoughts. It goes to our body, create emotions. Then the second technique, so the second one is to be able to equanimously watch those sensations in our body and not get distracted with that. So between these 2 techniques, our attention has fairly good toolkit, right, to stay in the present moment, where we can actually have all our attention, the whole 127 bits at our disposal, do whatever we want, and generally a positive way of living. So I'll stop there. So I'll open it up for any questions at this time on either of these 2 techniques or anything else that you have.
I have a question.
Sure, please go ahead.
Yes, so for myself, like as you mentioned, these thoughts bring some, emotions like sadness, happiness, anger, like not physical emotions, right? But this body scan is more like physical. So although, for example, let's say some thought makes me really angry, but then by scanning my body, that anger doesn't go away or that sadness doesn't go away. So I don't know, is the goal to somehow get rid of those emotions?
Very good question. Yeah, good question.
Scanning. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
So I'll basically the way the emotions appear in our body is through this sensation. So I'll take an example, right? So when I feel angry, right? So the anger itself results into some flushing of the face, cheeks, throbbing sensations on my nose, maybe some pounding in the heart area, right? So if I am able to watch those sensations equanimously, that automatically impacts or resolves the emotion of anger that we interpret as emotion of anger. Right? That's the reason people say that when you're feeling angry, focus on your breath, take 10 count till 10, and the anger will subside, right? So these are all very correlated tricks and techniques that emotions appear as a pattern of sensation in our body. So that is number one. And if we don't focus, basically have any mental thought about what the emotions are, and just focus on the sensation and watch them equanimously, it dissolves the emotion in a positive way. So that is the theory behind this. And this is what the key thing about Vipassana, which Buddha is taught like thousands of years ago. Sonali, you have anything to add to that?
No, you said it quite well there, Prithvi. And I think maybe Nazanin can explain a little more. But to me, what sounded like her question was that the anger or the sadness is not going away because are you engaging in the mental story about what was the cause of that anger or sadness, right? Some external factors cause these thoughts and emotions to come to us. And we can help them subside doing this this body scan technique. But if we keep on going back into the mental thoughts and stories about, this person's causing this anger to me, or, that person is causing some sadness to me, then again and again, the same neurochemicals will continue to be generated, right, in the body. And so the sensation, you might feel that the sensations are also not going away. And the emotions are also not subsiding, right? So it's sort of a continuous loop that we are deliberately, to some extent, engaging in by continuously thinking about those situations that cause us to be angry or sad or whatever, right? So the trick could be to stop this part, the mental part, you should try to get away from, and simply focus as much attention as you can on the body sensations. And then you might realize that you've broken that chain between the mental story and the body sensations.
I see. So somehow we have to distract ourselves from that thought. So this body scan is like another anchor. Can we say that?
Yes, absolutely. So that is the first part, right? So when we did the breath as an anchor, yeah, sensation is also an anchor. Exactly. So you can watch the sensations sometimes. You can do it in 2 steps, right? One, you can get your focus back to your breath so that it is not engaging to the thought. And at the same time, be aware of the other sensations that are coming in your body.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So breath is an anchor or thought as an anchor. When I do the meditation, I still have thoughts and I have to get back to my anchor continuously. But when I do the body sensation, the body scan rather, I feel like going into zone, and I have to almost remind myself to get back. What is different about this body scan that my thoughts just shut down very easily with this, more than the other meditation techniques? So it's the second day I'm observing the same thing.
So I think the thing is that the techniques are slightly different, right? So so like the anchoring technique, the first thing that we should notice is that the anchoring technique is like even in like we talk about anapana or mantra meditation or phonetic based meditation. So the technique itself is different, and the sensation scanning actually impacts some of the embedded impressions that we have that we have created in the past, right? So that is one thing that I wanted to say, right? But one is working better for you than other, which is absolutely fine. If the second one is working better for you, that means you are getting some benefit in terms of the older impressions that you have that appears unknown to us through our in our body. You are good at it.
I am good at the impressions. I still don't understand.
So what I'm saying is that you are able to do that. You are able to watch the sensations without getting distracted, because often what happens is we may actually get distracted. We start judging the things, the sensations, that this is good, this is bad. That takes us away from the flow. So what I'm hearing from you is that you can do it comfortably, that Purnima, right? So you can do it comfortably. You're comfortable with going through the sensations. And then did you say that you go into the zone there?
A little bit, yeah. I feel like the number of thoughts that enter my head are very, very, very less.
Yeah.
So probably because I'm constantly doing something, I don't know.
Yeah, that is the idea, right? That is the idea that if you do it really well, that's the reason I said you're doing it really well. That means because of that, thoughts are less. If you're not doing it well, your thoughts will be more, right? If you just start judging those sensations, saying this is, oh, this I have an itchy sensation, I don't like it, or a prickly sensation, I like some good sensation that I like. So that actually creates the thought. That's the reason we say that don't judge those sensations. Then it starts creating the thought, and your attention goes to the thoughts, not to the sensations, right? And so if you are saying, if I'm hearing from you that you have less thoughts, that means you are doing it well.
Okay, thank you.
And Purnima, I'd like to add that everybody has a different body-mind fabric. So some things work better for some people and other things work for other people. So just try all these techniques at different times, give it some time and see if it is working well for you. You can use that more often. Yes, Devraj.
Yeah, Purnima had a very interesting question. Purnima, hi, this is Devraj. What I heard was there is this scanning technique which allows you to sink more quickly into a quiet state. My question was, does it take you a while to get out of it, or are you able to get out of the zone at will? Do you understand my question? So when you do the body scanning technique and when you sink into that quietness, how is the process of coming out of that quietness? Is that a quick, easy process, or as if you're waking up from a slumber?
I felt very relaxed, so I think it could be called a slumber because I didn't want to come out of this. And this is the first time this is happening to me. Meditation,
Yeah,
I am able to come out of it, but this one, I felt so rested.
Yeah, very nice. No, Dada will obviously be able to answer that better because I think this is a spectrum of states of awareness where there's alert awareness and there's a very quiet, sleepy awareness. And then there's a hyper alert awareness and a sloth-like awareness. So this is in between that sweet spot. And for me personally, you have to keep going back and forth on this till you realize the flavor of this kind of awareness. And one thing I found is like, the ability to come out of it, alert, tells you that you've been in a proper state. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I think if I could add to that, right? That's the reason why we're saying, right? So because everybody is different. So in order to keep the instructions simple, we're saying whenever you are aware of it, get back to your anchor. Just keep it simple. And then once you get more and more into it, you get to explore different flavors and all, right? But the technique itself is simple, right? Yeah. Whenever you were aware that I'm distracted, get back to anchor. Whenever you go to zone, whenever you realize that I'm in zone, get back to the anchor, right? That is all it is. And there may be other fireworks also, right? As you go through this process, right, your attention gets more expanded, right? So you may actually feel some energetic movement in your body, some other stuff too. But whenever you're aware of it, get it back to anchor. Those things, you should not worry about anything, whether it is positive sensation, good sensation, or bad sensations. Get it back to the anchor. So that is, you keep it simple.
Thank you.
We have a few more minutes. Any other questions?
Hello, Prithvi. Hello. I don't have any questions as such to ask. It's my first session, but I must say I have really benefited a lot from it. And definitely even I was in a very relaxed mode when I went into full body scan. It really helped me a lot. So in the due course of time, maybe there will be still an improvement, but yes, like when Anisha was speaking about it, you feel the sensations. I definitely felt some sensation when I was on to my left arm. Something as if something is oozing out of my mind and I was feeling very, very relaxed. So this really helped me. Thank you.
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. And the key thing about this is, so these techniques are equivalent of push-ups, right? I say that if you go to a gym and you do push-ups. So first time, there are two things here. Just knowing that doing push-ups is going to make me strong is not going to help. So we'll have to keep at it, right? And gradually gradually, the first day I'll go, probably I'll do 5 push-ups. But if I keep at it, I'll do 6, 7, and very soon I'll be doing 25 and 3 sets of 25. And when I'm doing 3 sets of 25 is when I'm really getting strong. So similarly here also, we'll have to do this at least once a day, preferably twice a day, every day for, I'll say that if you do it for 4 to 5 weeks, you'll see a actual lasting difference. So that is one thing I'll definitely mention.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Hi, Anisha, Prithvi. I have one question. I have 2 questions, rather. One is that both are about scanning technique. I'm still new to that. So one is that I always feel that whenever the scanning goes on, that I am trailing, as if I'm like kind of looking for the sensations. We had to talk about it yesterday also. But there is nothing much to kind of observe or kind of to find something. And also I take much longer to just in general. That was one. Second was that what happens if, because I just keep going back to my breath, even when we are scanning. So kind of how does that play up while you're doing the scanning technique? Is it okay if you go to your breath, or maybe because I have done, breath as an anchor a lot. So probably, that just keeps playing in the head.
Sure. So I'll take the first one first. So the sensation is, and we talked about it, right? It is not, we're not talking about some firework sensations here. We are looking at anything. So if I say that, okay, this hand is my hand, when my eyes is closed. So I have my hand, I cannot see it. When I close my eyes, I still know it is there, right? So what are the sensations that is happening in the hand that tells me this is my hand? I'm not seeing it, but I know it is there. Right? It is almost like a small buzzing sensation, a little bit of, it is a very subtle thing. I think it is not something very grand that we are looking at. Right? It will be maybe a little bit, and I think that summarizes it. How do we know that part of your body exists? That is your part of body with your eyes closed, right? Mm-hmm. That is the level of sensation we are talking. And when you get fine-tuned to it, you may actually see a little prickly, you get a little bit good at it. You see prickly things, throbbing things, maybe itchy things and all that. Itchy is actually, people sense that is very gross, right? You can sense it immediately. So that is the first part. So sensations are very subtle. Let's not look for anything very big. It is all very simple. And going slow is absolutely fine. Go with your own pace. The second question was getting back to Anapana, which is very natural. What happens is if your thought activity is more, right, it is advisable to get back to Anapana. Because if you're not able to, but when you're doing the body scanning, your attention should be with the area that we're talking about, the sensation there, not on the nose. So nose, it will be when you are actually scanning your face, right? So, but if you are not able to do it, that it is natural to get back to Anapana to again reclaim your attention and again start it.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. So I think we are over time now. So thanks a lot everyone for joining, and we will see you all next week again.
Thank you.
Good to see you all. Thank you for joining.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Anisha.
See you next week.
Bye.